Today is we're going to be looking at tkinter, and that's just a package in Python that allows you to make windows and draw stuff. And I don't know when you'll use it. You might use it. Usually people use it to make graphs. But if you wanted to make, let's say, one of those windows that pop up and then it has like all the things where you can like select files and stuff or whatnot, you will want to use tkinter. And in terms of what you guys will probably be dealing with in terms of your assignment and your exam, there's a bunch of code here on the wall, but really all this stuff here on the first board, we usually give that to you in your assignments, and we usually give that to you in your exams. If you look at the past exam papers, you'll see what I mean. Because it's basically lots of little housekeeping things that you need to do in order to set up a window and to set up a what we call a canvas that lets you draw stuff on. But you don't have to memorize this stuff. But it's good to know what the code does, right? So how do I set this up, right? I would want to start by making a tk object, but in order to do that, I need the stuff from tkinter. So that's why at the very start I have import statement from tkinter import start. That basically means import everything from tkinter, and it allows us to write things without having to do long method names like tkinter dot this dot that. But basically, the first line of code, window, is assigned tk bracket bracket. That basically means I'm going to start a tk object, and that's my window. That's this thing here that's going to start to build upon. But I need to, let's say I want to give my window a title. I'll go window.title shapes, and then that will be what's on the top bit of your window, and it says shapes there. The next few things are just kind of like setting how the window looks and how we can interact with it. Window.config background equals white sets the background of the window to white, so this bit here will be white. Window.geometry, that sets how big and where the window appears. So it's a string, and you can see it says 200 times or x 250 plus 10 plus 20. What that basically means is it's 200 by 250, that's the size of the window in pixels, and 10 and 20 is where it appears on your screen. So it will appear 10 pixels across and then 20 pixels down. And that's where the top left-hand corner will be. And that's just so that you know where your window will appear. That's basically what that string does. And that's how you set up your window. But when you set up your window, you can't actually draw anything in it. Oh, I should also tell you, you can do other stuff like set up buttons, set up tables and whatnot, but that's not all we're learning in 101. All we're really learning is how to use the graphics and how to use the drawing kind of functions. So in order to do the drawing, what we need to do is we need to create a canvas in our window, and the way we do that is we have some variable, a canvas. I'm going to assign it canvas, and then I'm going to pass it my window so it knows where I'm going to put the canvas in. I got to do some configuration to my canvas as well, so that's why I have a canvas.config. I'm going to make the background of the canvas white as well, same as what I did before. I'm going to do this thing here, a canvas.pack, and what that basically means is how does the canvas fill up the window. I'm going to make fill equals both and expand equals true. Basically that means it fills up the whole window, and if I expand the window, the canvas will expand with it. That doesn't mean that if I drew an image, it will resize. What it means is that the canvas, the drawing space, will be as big as your window. So that's pretty much all the housekeeping, all the things that you need to do to set up your window and your canvas. And then we have all of these other guides. Draw grid is actually a user-defined function, which we haven't put on the board, but it's basically going to draw a grid for us so that we can see what's happening. Draw pattern in canvas, that is the user-defined function here, which we'll get to later. And as you can see, both of these guys, I need to pass the canvas itself, because I need to use canvas methods in order to draw shapes and stuff. The last line of code is window.mainLoop. What that basically does is it basically takes care of running your window for you. So that's the whole like resizing it. That's the whole clicking to have it close. All that kind of stuff. You would think that they know how to do it, but you need code to do that. So that's what the main loop does. And so once that will just loop through all the things that need to be done to keep your window alive. And once you click the X, it's done and your program finishes. So that's just, again, just housekeeping. You don't need to memorize this. It's good to know what it does. You will, as far as I'm concerned, don't quote me on this, but from what I've seen in the exams, this is already put there for you. What they want you to try and figure out is how these kinds of functions work. And in your assignment, same thing. They'll probably give you this already, but you have to write stuff like drawing a pattern or drawing some shapes. All right. Now, this function here, draw a pattern in Canvas, I'm going to leave it for later because we want to go to that function over there, draw something, to learn how to actually draw stuff. So, pretty much all you need to do is learn the method names and learn how they work, and then you can just draw whatever you want. There are a few things that you need to know about graphics in a computer to begin with, though. So, first things first, let's go with canvas.createRectangle. Right? This is the canvas object that we passed through here, and I'm going to use a method called createRectangle. You can guess it creates a rectangle. And then in the parameters, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parameters. Okay, and the first 4 parameters are 4 integers. Can anyone tell me what they think the first 4 integers are for?
The 2 ones are the starting point, and then the third one's like that one, and then the fourth one's.
Yep, close. So that's correct. The first 2 are the starting point. So to have a point, you need an x and y point. You need an x and y. So this first one is your x, and this second one is your y, and that will give you your point. So you imagine you have some x and some y. That's your starting point. I guess you could think of these 2 as going across and going down, but what these actually are is your finishing x and your finishing y, so it's the other point. So let's say I have some point here, right? And that's my other points. What createRectangle is doing is looking for one point to be your top left corner, and then the next point to be your bottom right corner. And so when I put these guys in, it will make some square based on those 2 points, or some rectangle. So if we look at these values, these are the pixels in your canvas. But something you need to know about how these work with x and y is that with graphics like this, x is, as you know it, going across in the positive direction to the right, but y, in graphs usually y going upward is positive, but for these guys, going downwards is positive. So if we look at x and y to begin with for a rectangle, that's 150x, so 50, 100, 150 going across. And now,